The town of Blackwood was a quiet place, nestled deep in the forest where trees loomed high like silent witnesses to the horrors of the past. But nobody liked to talk about the whistling. They said it started years ago, on a cold November night, when a deranged man escaped from Blackwood Asylum. His name was Victor Crane, a cold-blooded killer with a penchant for playing mind games with his victims. Victor wasn't just a murderer, he was an artist of terror. He would stalk his prey for days, leaving behind eerie signs of his presence. A single black feather on their doorstep, scratches on their windowsill, and most chillingly, the sound of whistling echoing in the dead of night. The whistling was the worst part. It wasn't cheerful or familiar. It was slow, haunting, and off-key, like a melody pulled from a nightmare. Years had passed since Victor's escape, but the town never felt at peace. Rumors spread that he still roamed the forest, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. People vanished without a trace. Hikers, travelers, even locals. All that was ever found were the black feathers and the faint sound of his eerie whistle, lingering like a ghostly warning. One dark, moonless night, a young journalist named Sarah decided to uncover the truth about Victor Crane. She was ambitious and unafraid, or at least that's what she told herself. Armed with her camera and a flashlight, she ventured into Blackwood Forest, determined to unravel the mystery. As she walked deeper into the woods, the air grew colder, and an unnatural silence fell around her. Even the crickets seemed too afraid to make a sound. That's when she heard it, a faint broken whistle, floating through the trees. Her heart pounded. "It's just the wind," she whispered, trying to convince herself. But the sound grew louder, closer, and more distorted, as if something was imitating a human tune but failing miserably. She froze when she saw the first sign, a black feather, resting unnaturally on the forest floor. Then another, and another, forming a trail that led deeper into the darkness. Against her better judgment, Sarah followed. The whistling stopped. "Hello," she called out, her voice trembling. There was no response, only the sound of twigs snapping behind her. She spun around, shining her flashlight, but saw nothing but the endless trees. Then she saw it. Carved into the trunk of a tree was a chilling message. "I see you." Her breath hitched. She backed away, her flashlight trembling in her hand. That's when she felt it, a cold, bony hand on her shoulder. She screamed and turned, but no one was there. Suddenly the whistling resumed, this time right in her ear. Panicking, she ran, branches clawing at her face and hair as she tore through the woods. She didn't know where she was going. She just needed to get away. But the whistling followed her, growing louder, more relentless. And then she saw him. Standing under the gnarled branches of a massive tree was a figure in tattered clothing, his face obscured by shadow. He held something shiny in his hand, a long, rusted blade that glinted in the flashlight's beam. Victor Crane smiled, revealing rows of yellowed teeth. "I've been waiting for you," he rasped, his voice as broken and twisted as his whistle. Sarah's scream echoed through the forest, but no one came to her rescue. The next morning, the townspeople found her flashlight at the edge of the woods, flickering weakly. Near it lay a single black feather and the faint echo of a haunting whistle, carried on the wind. Victor Crane was still out there, and the forest had claimed another soul.